Hello, everyone! I am Fozzie, or Cam, and I'm here with my co-host Will, and we're all really excited. But before we go into that, Will, how are you doing today?
I am doing just splendid, amazing, fantastic, Cam. I mean, I don't even know how to describe what this podcast will be like. This is arguably the biggest podcast in the history of the Everything podcast. And if you don't know why, you'll soon find out. But boy, Cam, I am just doing incredible. And how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I am. I'm in disbelief right now. Honestly, I never in a million years. If you asked me at the beginning of the season, who do you think is going to be in the finals? I would not have said the Warriors, and I would not have said the Celtics. I am just stunned that my team and your team both made it into the finals. And I am just stunned by how awesome this is. I mean, wow. And obviously, we're going to have to make this special because it's a once in a lifetime thing. This probably
What
isn't.
in a lifetime, folks? You will never hear excitement from us on this podcast quite like this. This is an epic event, and in a bit, I will describe exactly what will be going on in this house with me and Mike, my dad, who we've had on this podcast before. I will be explaining to you the things that will be going on in my house with me and my dad, because he's a Celtics fan as well. But I just can't contain myself right now, Cam. Whoa, let's go.
I mean, I'm honestly still stunned. But some of the special things that we'll be doing to just hype this up and get just just get excited, get ready. Some of the things we'll be doing is a pregame show, a halftime show, and a postgame show. Yeah, and they're all gonna be live. We're gonna have special guests. It's gonna be awesome. For the postgame show, I was thinking we could do something really fun where if you're in the chat, you can ask to make an appearance on the podcast. We'll give you the code, and boom, you're on our podcast. So, yeah, that'll be so much fun. I cannot wait for game one. And I am just so psyched, Will. This might go down, like you said, as one of the most legendary everything podcasts of all time. It's just fantastic. And a quick disclaimer: yeah, we kind of stopped posting for 2 weeks. We didn't exactly mean for that to happen. We just I had a busy schedule, and yeah, and Todd, we're gonna have a big talk with him, right? Well,
Oh, certainly, certainly, Cam. Please explain to everybody just this mysterious disappearance from Todd, just on a show that we love called What Grinds My Gears.
so if you didn't know, if you don't really watch them, what grinds my gears is a little mini series. Well, not even a mini series. It's just a little side series that Todd does, and it's awesome. They're just hilarious. They're just videos where he vents about things that he's not happy about. They're one of my favorite things that we do on this channel. And
Agreed.
mysteriously, he's just kind of stopped sending me them. He stopped sending me the recordings. I haven't texted him yet because at first I thought, oh, maybe he was not feeling well. I don't know. It's fine. And then I was like, oh, maybe he just forgot. But I don't know. We're gonna have to text him. Maybe try to remind him.
Oh, for sure. And if anything, and I think you're handling this in a great way, Cam. Just in terms of, as you said, maybe he was sick, maybe something's going on. But let's hope, like Todd, if you happen to be listening to this podcast right now, when you do your next "What Grinds My Gears" episode, please try and explain to your fans why you have been gone for about 3 weeks.
Honestly, I mean,
And we love Todd. Todd, we love you. We love your podcast. We just we miss it. That's the reason that we're talking this way, because we love the podcast so much, or the miniseries so much.
yeah, it's just so much fun to tune in every Sunday or early Monday, um, to the most funny show we have. And we're not exactly a comedy channel. That's not what we specify in. That's not our thing. But when Todd does it, kind of is a comedy channel. It's fantastic. So,
It certainly is.
Todd, please upload videos or just send them to me, please, or I will hire someone else. No, I won't. That would be mean. All right, so let's get this episode started with just some talk. Some Celtics Warriors talk, and I mean, obviously, we have to ask this question. It's a classic finals question. What team is going to win, and how many games are they going to win in? Well,
Oh
I'll
boy.
let you go first because I think you'll have a very well thought out opinion about this.
Oh, I certainly will. So I want to start because I really want to build this up. Like everything, like any prediction, any of these big things we do, I really want to work on building them up. So I want to start with this stat because this is something that's really raised my eyebrows going into these finals and as the Warriors and Celtics have played in the regular season over the years during the Warriors quote unquote dynasty run. The Celtics are the only team to have an above 500 record against the Warriors during their dynasty run at 7-9. And that's not something that I just sag off. We know how dominant the Warriors were in their run of 5 straight finals from 2015 to 2019, and they're back in the finals now. So if you can do that against the Warriors, I don't ignore that in any way, shape, or form. And the Celtics, for some reason, just seem to match up very well against my team, which is something that I'm a little bit like about going into the finals, and a reason I think we could lose. But Cam, listeners to this podcast, I am going to pick the Warriors in 7. The Warriors in 7 is my pick. They have the home court advantage. NBA Finals now being 2-2, 1-1-1. So the Warriors will obviously be hosting games 1, 2, 5, and 7 if it goes 7 games. So they have the home court advantage. And compared to the Celtics, they have a lot of guys, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, the headliners who have been in the finals many times before, whereas that's not the case with the Celtics. So in a little bit, I've got more, folks. I'm going to share exactly how I think this is gonna go, and I'm going to share who I think is going to win all 7 games up to my Warriors in 7 prediction, but just due to the home court advantage and the experience, I'm going to pick my team in 7 games, Cam, and you fire away now because I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
All right, so it's easy. Celtics in 4. I'm kidding.
Okay, that was a good joke. That was a good joke, Cam. Well done. I will give you applause for that. All right.
So obviously not Celtics in 4, and I really don't want to sound like I'm being a homer here. I really don't want people to think I'm just being biased because I'm a Boston fan. But I honestly think Boston in 6.
Okay. Does this have to do with them being like the road warriors they've been throughout the postseason? I'm curious as to why you think this is.
Honestly, because I don't think they're gonna struggle on the road as we saw last game against the Heat. They won they won last game, which was an away game, and the fans were going crazy for the Heat. It was so loud, and they still pull off a win, and they pretty much had the lead most of the game, if not all game. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Celtics I don't think being on the road is going to impact the Celtics' performances at all. In fact, it might it just might get them even more hyped up. It might get the players more hyped up because they know how good they can do on the road and they know what their fans think of them. They're the road warriors, so the fans are going to expect of them, and the Celtics are really going to want to deliver through. And I feel like if we stay with any injuries, if Marcus Smart stays healthy, Tatum stays healthy, we'll dominate. If Tatum's on his A game every
Dominate.
game, we will we will dominate.
Hold, hold
And
on. So do you think they will dominate when the Warriors throw out their lineup of Curry, Thompson, Green, Wiggins, and Poole? Do you think they'll just dominate when that lineup is on the floor?
I think so. I think
Wow. Okay.
I think Poole's as he's a good player. I think he's young. I think he might be a bit overrated. I need to see more of him. He's just a bit too young for me to say he's awesome. And I can say the same thing about well, kind of the same thing about uh, Marcus Smart sometimes too, because he's very inconsistent. But when he's on. And Jaylen Brown is an overrated player, I'll admit.
Oh, really? Why? Why? Why, Cam? I don't want to be saying things good about you like your team throughout this entire show, but how could he be an overrated player?
I don't think he's great in clutch situations. And when I watch him play, he just doesn't have like I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not this don't get me wrong.
He's an
I'm not
all-star.
I'm not even coming close to saying he's a bad player at all. I just think people say he's just a little bit below Tatum. I think he's quite a bit below Tatum. Tatum is a starting NBA All Star, and I think Brown is an All Star, but just he has more off games than Tatum has, and so does Marcus Smart. But when both of them are on, boy, are they on! I mean, oh wow.
Well, also, let me say this. I when the Splash Brothers, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are on, they are on. And in my lifetime, I have never seen a player get hot on the level that Klay Thompson can get hot. And I've seen him play well in closeout games this postseason, game 6 against the Grizzlies, game 5 against Dallas last round. So I think if Klay Thompson gets hot, it's going to be hard to stop him. And as great as the Celtics defense is, I think it'll be hard for them to slow down Klay when he's really on his game and he really wants it so bad.
I think a big risk for you guys is injuries, because I mean, it probably if they were getting injured, it probably would have happened already this season. But you never know. I mean,
I think the same could be said though with the Celtics because
yeah, of course.
what if they lose Jason Tatum? He's their best player. I think it goes both ways. I think the Warriors have
But Jason Tatum wasn't out for 2 seasons, and Klay Thompson was, which puts like a whole different factor into it. I mean, he obviously has a higher injury risk than Tatum.
Yeah, I know Klay was, out for 2 years, but I have seen him play well in closeout games this postseason. And I think the Warriors have kind of gotten over the injuries that have bogged them down. Obviously, Klay being out for 2 years now, he's back in playing. Draymond and Steph went through their injuries during the regular season, and guys like Gary Payton II, a great defender who they've been without for these last 2 rounds, he's coming back. So I think the Warriors have really gotten over their wave of injuries, and I think they're playing their most healthy basketball right now, which is why that has me excited going into these NBA finals.
All right. Well, I wish the Warriors the best of luck when it comes to injuries. But
Yeah. I don't want to see any injuries to any big name players. I don't want that to ever happen in any series because it just ruins the fun of it all.
Oh, of course, yeah. You don't want to see a team just get dominated. But I think the Celtics are going to win this series. I just think I think oh man, how do I say this? At the beginning of the year, they both kind of had not great teams, but I think with this new coach who just has fresh eyes on things, well, newer coach, I guess. He's been coaching all season. Ime Udoka, who has kind of a fresh set of eyes on this team, and he coached Kyrie Irving, well, assistant coached Kyrie Irving. I think that definitely plays a factor. I think he's a great coach, and sometimes you need a fresh set of eyes on a team, and sometimes it really helps you. Sometimes you you don't really know what you're expecting sometimes when you have a new coach like that.
Yeah, well, but with the Warriors, Steve Kerr has coached in already 5 NBA Finals, and he knows what it's like, and he knows the ups and downs of playing in the NBA Finals. So, like, are you not worried at all that Steve Kerr and some of the Warriors coaching staff has been here before, and the Warriors have a bunch of players, or the Warriors have vets who have been in the finals many times before, and the Celtics, that's not the case. Like, do you have no worry at all when it comes to that?
I don't have a worry at all because we have quite a few young players. We have Tatum. We have we Tatum. Uh, pretty yeah. He's been in the league for just not very long, and I feel like we have a lot of young players. We have Marcus Smart, obviously. Um, Grant Williams, who's just fantastic. Rob Williams. These are all young players, and they just have because a lot of your players have been there, done that, and they won't have the drive that these guys do. They need to win a championship. They, they've
I Yeah,
they've worked so hard to get here, and they're not going home. I feel like they're not going home empty-handed. That they will find somehow and some way to find some victory here, and it could take a lot of effort. It could take a lot of time, but they will find a way to. Uh, they'll find a way to win this series. I mean, it might take extra practice. I don't know. They have the drive. I mean, honestly.
I disagree with what you're saying about the Celtics having more drive, because I think when you've been to the finals before, you have that drive to want to do it again. And I think the fact that the Warriors had the worst record in the league 2 years ago and were a mediocre team last season, and considering the fact that Clay just had two grueling injuries, I think that this team has learned to appreciate being on the biggest stage more than they ever have. And I think that their motivation and determination will be as strong as it ever has been, and also to shut up any narratives that they got lucky in 2015 with the Cavs injuries and got 1-2 titles by KD. So I think these last 2 years have made the Warriors appreciate being on this stage more. I think they are as motivated and driven as ever. And in the back of my mind, I've just always kind of thought, if Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, especially what's gone on these past 2 years, if they get a chance to be back in the NBA Finals again and win another title and be able to experience that feeling again, I just don't think they're not going to take advantage of that. So I think the Warriors are as driven as ever, and as much as the Celtics haven't experienced a title before, there are many players on the Warriors roster, including young players on the Warriors roster, who haven't won titles yet either, and will be extremely driven to win one this year.
That's true. That's fair. I mean, that's a fair point. Let's go on to our next topic here. Um, who has a better starting lineup?
All right, so Cam, why don't you just make sure like you share the Celtics lineup and I'll share the Warriors lineup, and then we can answer this question.
All right, so we have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, usually Rob Williams, Marcus Smart, Al Horford.
All right. And with the Warriors, we have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and Kevon Looney.
All right. I honestly think if you're going just to say who has better players, I would go with the Warriors. I would go with the Warriors. I think they work good as a team. I just think the Celtics know how to communicate, and they might not have necessarily better players because I'm not saying Tatum's a better player than Curry. I'm not saying Brown's a better player than Clay, but I'm saying they're a team and they can play as a team, which I think is just a really big factor. I think that helps, and I'm not saying the Warriors starting lineup can't play as a team, obviously. Um, but I think you just have every player on the Celtics starting lineup serves a purpose. Al Horford is a veteran. He's been in the league forever. He's a big man. He can shoot. Marcus Smart, the defensive player of the year, can handle the ball. Well, can't really shoot the ball. Great passer, and he's one of the best defenders in the league. Robert Williams, a really good center. He's super tall. He could give you a few slam-a-lama jams. Some of the best dunks you'll see. Some of the best passes. And he's tall. He can get over people. You have Jaylen Brown, who is just a really good player. I mean, he's been in the NBA a while now, and he knows what he's doing. He's a great shooter, great passer, fantastic on defense. Oh, great under the hoop. I mean, he's just an all around good player. And then you have Jason Tatum, an all star, who just who can handle the ball. He can shoot like nobody's business. He can play defense like nobody's business. He's 6'7", I believe, and I just think he he 6'7" force on offense is just like amazing. Cause Curry's what 6 foot 6'1".
6'3".
All right, 6'3". I mean that and Curry, what you'd say is your best player.
Easily, yes.
So when your best player is 6'3", can shoot, but when your best player is 6'7", can shoot, can dunk, can play defense, can get rebounds, can pass, can do all that. I just think they might just be half a step above the Warriors because every player fits their own category.
Cam, I'm seeing here that we have about 3 minutes left. Do you want to get off this and do a part two where we finish up this talk and I can give my answer to this question right here?
Yeah, go ahead. Answer the question. We'll be back with a quick part two. So go ahead, Will. Just answer that question real quick and
All right.
yeah.
This is an extremely tough one for me here, but boy, geesh, I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the Warriors starting lineup. Obviously, like you want to go beyond this, but with Andrew Wiggins making the All-Star team this year, that does give the Warriors four All-Stars in their starting lineup. And ever since Game 6 against the Grizzlies, Kevon Looney has just been fantastic for the Warriors. So Curry, Thompson, Green, Looney, they've been there before. They've got four All Stars. Curry, Thompson, Wiggins can all go and get their points. Steph Curry, he's taking it to the basket better than I've ever seen him do before. So by a tad bit, I'll go with the Warriors starting lineup.
All right. We will be right back with part two on YouTube. So, yeah, enjoy part one. We'll see you in a few. Well, not a few, like half an hour.